We are going to start our study session. All righty, Councilor Green.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item 8A. This was introduced and tabled at the previous meeting. Is there any new questions that have emerged on this? If none, we'll be ready on Monday.
Okay, I just want to make a statement. I want to make a comment on this item because I think it's long overdue. And I think that for the taxpayers and the citizens in the city of Syracuse, that this is going to be huge because it was just, for decades, the amount was so high that if you even tried to come and redeem, it was an outrageous price. So I applaud finance for making this change. I applaud the administration and the council for moving this forward. I think it's going to be a lot easier on our taxpayers, and I think we're going to be able to recover more with the way this has been done. So thank you. And I have item 9, and that is going to be called Ready. Councilor Caldwell.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, everyone. I have items 10 through 11, and we have Commissioner LaFave here.
Good afternoon, Julie LaFave, Commissioner of Parks and Recreation. Item number 10 is to accept donations, the amount of $200. We had a city employee pass away. Per the wishes of the family, they wish the donations be made to be used at the Cecil Center.
Okay.
Item number 11 is to enter an agreement so that we can run lacrosse clinics, contract period December 1st to June 30th.
Okay, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. We're ready.
Councilor Green.
Thank you, Madam President. We'll start with item 12. Is this Commissioner Ojai? He's here. He's coming.
Sorry, councilors. Number 12, we are requesting to update a 2018 appraisal previously authorized, pushing up the cap on that. This was, I think, a $2,500 appraisal. We're concerned that that's become stale now, and we'd like to get that value revisited. We'd like to retain the same appraiser to publish an updated report and get us a new opinion on Eastwood Heights.
Questions on this? Okay. Item 13.
13, we would like to have this introduced. This is a proposal for a shelter rent agreement at Eastwood Heights. This is an existing 49-unit senior apartment building in a former city school. It's never been on the tax roll. SHA would like to buy this property from the city. SHA has operated it since 1989 on an annual dollar lease from the city. They've got a third-party developer who would step in, operate the property, invest significant funds in it, finance the purchase from the city, and in return pay a little under $27,000 a year in a shelter rent agreement while preserving and operating the same 49 units of affordable senior housing.
Commissioner, is someone from SHA here?
They are not, I believe.
I'd be curious to know what the significant investment inside the building is going to look like.
To the best of my knowledge, this would be a gut rehab.
Okay.
So this would be based on the second appraisal we're getting?
We would like to reassure ourselves that our understanding of full market based on our analysis and the 2018 appraisal jibes with what the new appraisal.
And the idea is just to appraise that particular part of the parcel, correct?
This would be the entirety of that tax parcel.
So it'll be the whole parcel?
The whole parcel,
But
yes.
there are plans to divide it maybe?
Prospectively, SHA would be paying us just for the piece of land the property sits on, the approximately 1.2 acre portion of the site to the north would be re-subdivided out, and the city would retain that vacant land.
Because this is sort of a convoluted.
It is, yes, and I don't know that we've presented this as clearly as we might have, but yeah, there are a lot of moving parts.
There's a way to present.
No, it's a complicated deal, and we.
So,
hey, you're here to help. Thanks.
So, I just want to say we absolutely can have somebody from the Housing Authority here on Monday to talk about that as well. The timing of this is that they have an application due to New York State December 6th, which is the last date to be able to submit for financing for low-income housing tax credit to redevelop the building.
But they're the other outfit, the Rochester, they have the financing application in too.
Well, it's a joint, they're working jointly
They're
together.
working jointly, or is there two parallel applications?
No, working jointly. So the Housing Authority is working with, they are partnered with Cornerstone on this. Yeah, and then certainly, councilors, any other questions that specific to the Housing Authority, we're happy to relay those to the Housing Authority so we can get your stuff before Monday.
Yeah, so let's get the information together, and then, I mean, it may make sense for the Housing Authority to come on Monday if they're
Absolutely.
ready and we want to move it forward for a vote. And then if we have all the information, then we can go forward.
Yeah. I would say specific questions, if you could send them to both Commissioner OJ and myself, that will help us get you answers as completely and quickly as possible.
Okay.
I think that the key thing is what the appraisal, I mean, when's that gonna be? If you're just doing it now, we're just,
As we reached out to the appraiser last week, he thought he could turn it around in 30 business days.
For December?
So, yeah, but by the end of the calendar year, I think.
So you're not going to have that information before the deadline?
We will not have that prior to the 6th, no. But we will not come to this body with a request for a purchase and sale agreement until we have that in hand and have reviewed it.
but that wouldn't interfere with their application at all, Michael, or?
No,
What the
that
property-
particular part of it would not interfere with the application. And that's where the Housing Authority can speak more clearly to that, because they are them and Cornerstone are the applicant.
We do need the housing authority here because did they approve the application?
It would be submitted on or before December 6th.
Right, yeah. Right, I, just new information, you know, I don't know as a board member how much I should be sharing or whatever, but new information, the application, there is some complications, that just came up, you know, from what was told to the board yesterday. So you know, it's up to the council, but I just think that we should have a thorough committee meeting, and, I don't think the application right now deadline is an issue right now, based on what Bill told me this morning. So I think that we should have a committee meeting or something for you all to get a clear understanding of what is really on the table.
Agree.
Shelter rental would be.
The Shelter, okay.
Yeah, yeah, so the application, assuming that they are able to work through the issues, so I got a call from Executive Director Simmons immediately before this meeting, mentioning that they, on their end, as happens when you're putting together a complicated application, that they've run into a couple of things. That happens. The shelter rent agreement would need to be in place for them to submit the application.
And what happens if it doesn't get approved?
If their application doesn't get approved, then they would, traditionally the way this works, and again, I'm not going to speak for the Housing Authority, but I can speak in traditional situations, the applicant gets a debrief from Housing and Community Renewal, and typically what they will do is work to adjust those deficiencies within the application and resubmit the next time around, which will probably be spring to mid-2023.
So there's a chance that may happen, right?
Absolutely, there's a chance that may happen, yeah.
So this
Yeah,
is-
a denial, for a project like this, a denial typically does not kill the project. It delays until the next application cycle.
I think we need to be fair here and have a committee meeting, because like I said, I'm on the board, I really don't know what I should be saying at this meeting, you know, as just a clerk. So I just, from what I know, it's up to the council how you all want to do it.
I mean, I just haven't seen a funding mechanism quite like this before. I mean, we're asking for a shelter tax agreement that this Rochester Cornerstone Group, in conjunction with the SHA. And as you mentioned, this has never been on the tax rolls at all. But this is a shelter, and they're gonna have like a ground lease.
So, yeah, the Rochester Cornerstone, the third party, would be the beneficiary of the shelter rent agreement. SHA would be,
Low-income tax credits, obviously, right? I I mean,
Yes, I believe so. SHA would be the fee owner of the property, would have a ground lease with Rochester Corningstone to operate, benefit from the shelter rent agreement, and we would retain a portion of the site.
And the funding for the rehab would come from their lease?
Funding for the rehab would come from HCR.
Okay, so that's part of the application? Then?
That's part of the, that's right.
That the same people that are, the Rochester Cornerstone's doing the application in conjunction with, okay. I think I got it.
I mean, I think a committee meeting would also flush out some concerns about
Councilors, I
the,
don't want the commissioner or Matt speaking on behalf of the housing authority. Right. So I think that we should just have a committee meeting on this so that we can get more clarification from the source.
That's good. Thanks, everybody.
Item 14.
Good morning, Greg Lowe, Chief Policy Officer. Item 14 is the streaming agreement with WCNY for streaming of council meetings and other meetings in city government. It's a 5-year agreement with the first year cost at $62,496 with a 2% increase in the remaining years of the contract annually.
Questions? Okay,
Thank you.
Item 15.
Hello, America Trier with the Downtown Committee. This is a 4-year agreement between the Downtown Committee and the City of Syracuse for the holiday decorations that are installed throughout the downtown district. We typically cost share on the cost of those decorations over a 4-year period, and the budgets were both approved as part of this past fiscal year for both the Downtown Committee and the city. So this is just our agreement to enter into the contract to be able to invoice the city for reimbursement for half the cost of these decorations.
Any questions on this? Okay, thanks, America.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Item 16.
Good afternoon, I'm Pam Brunet, the Executive Director of Leadership Greater Syracuse. So this is a $10,000 appropriation to support our organization in the 3 programs in which we participate in. I'm happy to share our mission and our outcomes if you have questions.
Pam, I have one question. Can you just talk a little bit about what your current outreach is to diversifying those classes?
It's comprehensive, and depending on your definition of diversify, we are looking at all types of people, ages, gender, employer types, professions, race, physical ability. So we network within the community and with business leaders and community leaders to ensure that the application pipeline for all 3 of our programs is robust. Specifically to race, we partner with the Gifford Foundation and the Community Foundation for Nourishing Tomorrow's Leaders, which is a board training program specifically for people of color. So we're moving the needle in that program and ensuring that more people of color are serving on boards. So that's a very specific program targeting people of color to move the needle there.
That's mostly what I was asking about. So are you having success getting more BIPOC people into the classes?
We have made tremendous progress. I'm happy to share that we just, for the flagship program, we just accepted a group for next year's class, and let me look, 23% of the pool identify as non-Caucasian. So President Hudson, you may remember a conversation years ago, it was not even close to that number. So we've made some progress, and it's through authentic relationships, really. That's how it's in time. So we are seeing progress in BIPOC in all 3 of our programs.
And Pam, members of the council could recommend people too, right? To you?
Most definitely.
Okay, so if anybody knows anybody, we could.
Happy to meet with anyone, more one-on-one information to share about our purpose.
Yeah, I think she'd be a good.
Not yet. Not yet, as I say.
I was denied. Denied this year?
We did deny former Onondaga County Executive Joni Mahoney, and she won't let us go from that. That was like 30 years ago. I'm just saying,
I'm
it
gonna
happens.
give Joni a call. I'm gonna give her a
Pardon
call.
me?
We need to have coffee, Joni and I.
Sorry.
I have a question.
Yes.
So once they go through the class and complete it, do you have the numbers of how many people get onto boards, like afterwards? Do you have that?
Correct. So every 2 years, I have a Maxwell student do a poll for the flagship program. And with 1,300 grads, the last time I polled them, they named 850 volunteer positions that they served. And you can't, the diversity and where they're serving is random as you can imagine. So they run for office, they serve on boards, they're on government commissions. It's very diverse in all the different locations.
I graduated the NLT, right?
Nourishing Tomorrow's Leaders, NTL.
Yeah, NTL. See, I forgot that. But I get emails all the time for to join boards, so it's a phenomenal flagship program.
Well, I'm also a graduate there. Class of 2016, the best class there is.
No, it's not.
There's your answer.
Me and Whitney.
Were you at the head of the class
There's your
there?
answer, Counselor.
Was that?
Were you at the head of the class, Counselor? Were you
Of course he
salutatorian?
was.
You can say that.
Of course you were.
You know, we're very grateful for those who have participated and then who share the information, because that's really our word on the street is what, I could talk all day long about how great it is or how diverse we are and how we are open to all people, but when we have you folks out there helping us, we really appreciate that. And these dollars help us to scholarship folks into the program. So we're giving anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000 a year in tuition assistance to make sure that our class is diverse in all ways.
Pam, I do appreciate it because as you said, years back, we had a conversation, which we know that we had a long way to go. And since that time, I know quite a few people that has gone through LGS. So yeah, thank you for continuing to open up the doors and continuing to keep bringing in people from different walks.
Happy to share that this year's class, we have a person who's deaf. Next year, we have a person applied who is working on her tuition, her interpreter costs, to who is deaf as well. So we learn from everybody. It's a rich experience, and I thank you for that. But we're never done. Our work is never done. We keep going. There's still always work to do.
Huge.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Huge.
Pam. Thank you. And the LGS as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything more? I'm happy to meet with any one of you individually to share more. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Paniagua by way of Councilor Caldwell.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I have item 17.
Good morning. Rick Elsever, Director of Human Resources. Number 17 is to amend the budget for 2020 and 2021 to reflect the paid pursuant folks that are paid pursuant to the CSEA contract to reflect their increases for 2020 and 2021.
Any questions? I think Tim
Couldn't
Rubbs
figure that
gotta have a question. Let's go. Thank you. We're all set.
All righty, Councilor Gathers.
Thank you, Madam President. I have items 18 through 30, with item 18 being the first. 18 through 24, are they grouped together?
Yes, they're together. Good afternoon, councilors. Mary Robison, city engineer. We recently did an RFP for our building division for general architecture and engineering services. The RFP committee met a week or two ago and selected 7 consultants. So we're asking for legislation for each of these 7 consultants. Appella Osborne for $1 million, Ashley McGraw for $1 million, CNS Companies for $5 million, CHA Consulting Inc. for $1 million, Ramtech Engineers for $1 million, RSA Architects for $1 million, and VIP Architectural Associates for $1 million.
As needed, right?
And there is not money associated with these contracts. As a project comes up, we would select a consultant and have to have a fund source in order to hire that consultant.
Any questions?
No. Only the funding for the project would come before you, yes. But the work order, we do work, when we execute a project with a consultant, we call it a work order. So you would need an account to hire that consultant.
But the dollar amount comes back.
With the dollars, yep.
Any questions? Thank you. Items number 25.
25 is approval to enter, or to be a member of the Central New York Stormwater Coalition. We've been doing this, I think this is year 15. This is a collaborative effort with all the other people who are in the MS4 program. There's approximately 30 communities that are part of this program. The annual fee is not to exceed $3,600, which it's been that way for most of the 15 years, as far back as I can remember anyway. And this really helps us meet our stormwater requirements, which DEC is going to be putting out a new permit this coming year, so this year's participation is extra important.
Any questions?
Who's that coalition? I know I can look it up just in a nutshell. Who's on that coalition? Is it a county, state?
It's all municipalities that want to participate, that are in that have to follow the separate storm sewer system regulations under New York State DEC. So the county's part of it, a lot of the adjoining townships, villages.
Great, thank you.
I think even the state fairgrounds is a member.
Number 26.
Item 26 is a revocable permission for Flock Group, Inc. to install, own, operate, and maintain a automatic license plate reading camera on a pole that they're going to be installing in our right-of-way. This is going to be located on Grant Boulevard, north of Teal, across from Shop City. This is for the county sheriff's department. They're installing miscellaneous cameras all over the county, and this particular one is within city limits.
Is there anybody from the sheriff's department here?
Or flop, because there's some questions.
So why are these being installed? I know Sheriff's Department, but how do they use the data? Does our city SPD get involved with that data?
I'm going to defer to Chief Schaaf.
Morning, Chief Schaaf, First Deputy Chief, please. So I sent an invitation out to Under Sheriff to have somebody here. I'm not sure why somebody isn't here, but they're looking at the flock camera systems. We're also looking at LPR, and we're getting in the process of releasing a bid to do it. They're in a free trial period. The cameras will talk to each other. The systems can be shared with each other if you want to. Manlius is also looking at, and Cicero is also looking at the similar systems.
So are we talking about tickets being issued with reading, or are you just using them for crimes?
No, they're not speed cameras, so these are crime cameras, and they have to follow the policy that we have for the two existing cameras that we have that's gone through the Surveillance Technology Committee and been approved for all that stuff. And that will only be for specific crimes, or if you're looking for a specific vehicle. It's not for monitoring, it's not for traffic enforcement.
But how is it stored?
It's stored, well, I don't know exactly how it's stored.
Because I know that there were some issues with all the other cameras about the storage and how long you have them and who gets to review them and all that good stuff.
So that's part of what I'm working on, figuring out. We have a policy that can only be stored for 30 days, no matter where it's stored. So I believe our policy is 30 days is just because of space, right? We really can't store longer than that. But we also have wiggle room from the Surveillance Technology Committee. If we need specific camera data stored up to 75 days, we can request that, but our policy is 30 days.
Well, could we maybe get somebody from the sheriff's office to come and talk to us on Monday?
I asked them, and I will reach back out to the under sheriff and say that.
They need to be looking at this because we have questions they need to answer.
I'm doing the best I can for them.
I know you are. I'm talking to the sheriffs.
Yep. So I will reach out to them again today and say that if they really want this, they better have somebody here.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
On their request letter, it does say they're deleting the footage every 30 days, and all footage is stored on an encrypted Amazon Web Services server that is CGIS compliant.
Thank you for that, Mary. They need to come and speak
Yeah,
for themselves.
no, absolutely.
Item number, oh, sorry, any other questions? Sorry. All right, item number 27.
Good afternoon, Joe Awald, Water Commissioner. Item 27 is to accept the reconstruction work of a 10-inch water main around the DASNY Mental Health Facility. They're doing a campus upgrade, and in the upgrade, they want to replace the water main all around the campus in the roadway. So no cost to us. They're going to do it as part of their construction project. We'll have some oversight, and we'll accept it once it passes the pressure testing and disinfection process and everything's hooked back up.
Is that Hutchins?
Yes. Any questions?
Just hoping that the pavement process afterward is in order.
It's all on them, so it's something we can really push them to make sure that the pavement's back up to where we would like it.
Right, excellent.
Item 28 is to enter an agreement with GHD. They're one of the consultants that bid on our RFP proposal to extend intake number 2 farther and deeper into Skinny-Ass Lake. The committee met, we did an interview process, and the committee selected GHD to perform this design work. Any questions?
So when you say address turbidity concerns, does it just tell you that there is turbidity in the water in algal bloom, or does it actually give you?
The intake will extend us into deeper water. Turbidity usually occurs in the upper, say, 20 feet of the water, especially when we get the southern winds. So if we extend it out farther and deeper into like 60, 65 feet of water, that should help us almost, I'm not going to say 100%, but almost eliminate all of our turbidity concerns.
So how do you abate that when you know turbidity is coming? What do you do?
What we typically do is shut down one of the intakes so that way the turbidity doesn't get into the system. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 29.
I saw that.
Rich DeVesti, Fleet Director. 29 is just enter an agreement with OCC for some training classes for welders. I want to send some of our guys up there. We need to weld to fix the equipment.
So this will help
Yeah.
we will able to do a lot of things in-house then, right, if we do this?
Yeah, yes.
Absolutely.
It'll help. Yeah, all the welding stuff we have to do in-house. Because usually it's broken right in front of us, so we don't get to send it out. It's just, the total cost is, it's $200 an hour of class, so it's not that bad.
It's a
And
no-brainer.
then if you have any questions.
No questions.
Okay, I have 30 also. This is just work on our aging fuel island at the DPW. We have an APO for 15,000. We need to change it to 50. The DEC inspected it a couple months ago. We had to do a number of repairs to keep it until our next inspection in 3 years. So this is just to pay for the cost of keeping up a 30-year-old fuel island. So, and that's it. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
But is there anybody here from DPW that I can ask a question of? I would like, I know you're putting speed bumps in different parts of the city.
Uh-oh.
And the speed bumps, they.
I don't have any speed bump information. I've seen them. Here we go. Thank you.
And the speed bumps that they put on, I don't want to say Gifford because I don't think it's Gifford.
Seymour?
Seymour. So all of those cuts in the road that they put, are they going to go back and fix those roads? Because there's cut in probably the whole street. There's 35 cuts going down the road.
From the installation of the speed hump or from other?
There's other stuff going on
Okay.
over there too, and I think that they need to repair that road back the way they found
Okay,
it.
all right, we'll take a look at Seymour.
Okay, and I'm gonna say this again too. Been saying for 5 years, the lights in the pathway, they're not installed. They came through and they redone the shortcut.
Yeah.
And they shut the lights down, but they didn't put them back up.
Street lights or traffic
No,
lights?
through the shortcut.
Oh, okay,
through the
okay.
path.
Okay, all right,
Get
I
the
got it.
street lights, but the lights back up.
Okay, we'll do both of those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Corey, when you send out press releases about all those, the wonders of speed bumps or speed pillows, as for the First District Council calls them, it'd be nice to give us a little heads up, because you never guess how many calls some of us got.
Yeah.
Requesting them from different streets.
Gordon.
You know, yeah, so.
That's fair. I mean, Neil did send an email to the council in advance of the press event, But your point is well taken.
Yeah, and also, we don't know the reason why you selected some streets as
Mhm.
opposed to other streets, because there's other people saying we don't need them up here.
Sure.
And now
Yeah.
there's other people that are saying.
I'd be happy to, either myself or Neil to follow up with an email to provide the rationale as to
Good to
why
hear-
streets
good
are
to hear from
selected.
Neil every once in a while.
Understood.
It's always good. I
Understood.
thought he was in the witness protection program for a little while.
He's a busy man
Oh,
and,
he certainly
and
is. Well,
was recently married this weekend, so he's been a little bit busy lately. But yes, I'll be happy to follow up with the rationale for speed hump
Talk about a
installation.
speed bump.
Yeah, right?
Corey, did we do Newell? I don't remember.
I'm sorry?
Did we do Newell?
Newell?
Yeah, by the park.
I think we did, yeah.
That was, I think, one of the first ones that ever asked for speed
Mhm.
bump. And Kirk.
Yeah, we did Kirk Park Drive.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's
Yep.
what we did
Or Kirk Ave, sorry, Kirk Ave, we did
Yeah,
Kirk
they
Ave.
asked too, so. yeah.
Yep, it's there.
All
So,
right.
yeah, I'll be happy to follow up with all the locations and the rationale for why and when they're installed.
and their survivability rate after the plows get finished in the winter.
Well, they are, for what it's worth, they were designed with plows in mind and also with emergency vehicles in mind. That was one of the changes with this new installation, is that in close partnership with the fire department for both the design and the installation to make sure we weren't impeding any emergency services.
Oh, I
Chief, you
thought
can
that-
attest to that back there, right? Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
I thought that middle bump was for motorcycles.
Thank you, counselors.
Thank you, Corey.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Hogan.
Thank you, President Hudson. We have a special permit up here. I got to welcome Jeff. This is your first appearance before the council, right?
Well, not necessarily my first one. I've been here on behalf of Heather in the past. That's quite all right.
We're used to seeing Heather up here, but this is for a special permit. Why don't you give it-
This is a special permit for indoor amusement and recreation to facilitate interior renovations as a part of expanding an existing fitness center out at 3040 Erie Boulevard East.
It's called the Syracuse Sweat Club.
Yes, that is correct. The Planning Commission did grant a parking waiver and a sign waiver as part of this approval.
Syracuse Sweat
Okay.
Club.
Any questions for my colleagues on Syracuse Sweat Club? Hearing none, I'll say this is ready. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Councilor Majok, Syracuse Sweat Club.
Thank you, Madam President. Chief, item 32.
Yes, sir. So we're requesting a waiver of an RFP to enter into an agreement with the Zero Abuse Project. It's to instruct training to the Syracuse Police Department regarding how to recognize signs and symptoms of abuse and maltreatment in children and how to listen and respond to children's needs. This came about because the Attorney General's office identified a place where we could use some improvement. That improvement is in interviewing children, whether it's sexual abuse or just abuse in general, and recognizing maltreatment. So our training division was tasked with finding us some training. So I reached out to McMahon Ryan, who is the experts in the area, and they suggested that we use this group here, the Zero Abuse Project, and that's why we reached out to them. We're going to bring them in. They're going to do train the trainer, which would cost us $6,000, $61.50. If we were going to do the whole department, it would have been closer to $35,000, but we figured we'd get a better deal by training the trainer, and then the trainers would train the rest of the department. So everybody in the department is going to be trained in this area.
Any questions?
How many trainers do you have? Or how many people are going to be
As many as we can fit in the classroom, so probably about 30 to 40.
Other questions? All right, 33, Chief.
Good afternoon, councilors. Joe Barry, First Assistant Corporation Counsel. The next item, 33, is a lease agreement that our office has been working with Commissioner OJ and the Police Department on facilitating. It's going to be a 2-year lease with 2 options of 5-year renewals, which would be subject to council approval. The initial 2-year term price will be $155,000 annually. And I believe most of you were briefed on it last week. It relates to the certain operational needs of the police department.
It's great.
Oh, well, I guess I might as well just say it again for the 100th time. Thank you, Joe, it is. But
Thank you.
again, I'm glad that, I spoke to the administration and they're looking, facilities building, we need, because annually, how much are we paying for each thing that we have leased out for police, for fire, for DPW, for all of our departments are scattered all over the county. So, yeah, we're gonna hopefully look at one big facility. That would be perfect.
Sounds like a good option if they can find a location.
We got plenty of land.
Other questions? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Item 34.
Good afternoon, Councilors. Dan Downs, First Deputy Chief of Fire. This item is to amend the contract with the Firefighters Union Local 280 for a change of schedule that they asked for. And in return, we have some operational needs because, as most of you know, there is kind of an ambulance problem locally. We worked together to find a solution that was beneficial to the citizens of Syracuse. So any details that I can share or you're interested in or questions?
Any questions?
Everybody loves the fire department.
No, and with the ambulance, it is gonna be critical right now because AMI is shortened and we're getting ambulances in from out of the county, so it is very critical.
Yes, ma'am.
I got a question about that. Has our ambulance ever gone out of the county?
Has it gone out of the county or in, out of the city into the county?
Like an in-service call, like out of the city into the county for
I would,
doubt it.
I don't have a
all
call
right.
that comes to mind, but I'd be scared to say it never did because somebody proved me wrong.
Oh, just ask it, that's all.
It could go. We're really looking to answer. Last month, our report was 335 calls in the city of Syracuse that did not get answered by the primary agency. So what we've worked on is trying to find that solution. So we're in the process of, and this is a huge key.
And how many rigs do we have, ambulance rigs?
Right now, we really can only run one at a time. We have a spare, but, so to answer the question, actual vehicles two, that we would only run one at this point. Staffing, we're hoping to get it up and running by January. We got some procedural things to iron out with the 911 center and things like that, but we're working on that as we speak.
So you can only run one because of the staffing?
I would feel comfortable saying right now we can only run one with our capabilities. But that's depending on need and what we're told to do. We can run more if we had to, but this, we're gonna put an additional 2 people on to make sure that our firefighting doesn't suffer at the same time. So it's been a real good partnership to
Does
answer
the
these.
hospital still stock the ambulances?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
Does the hospital still stock the ambulance?
I don't believe that they stock the ambulance. I don't know what,
Put the supplies in. I know they used to do the supplies in.
we'll stock it ourselves. Budgetary. That's what we currently do, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so the 24-hour shifts,
Yes, sir.
obviously it's a long period of time and you guys are doing really dangerous work. And I know some of the firemen may have second jobs. So how do we evaluate on a day-to-day basis, making sure everyone's fit for duty, got the right energy, and making sure we're keeping everyone safe?
Great question. We did a temporary 24 agreement during COVID for contact tracing and limiting exposure. What we have found through research and actually interviewing our own department is we think that we are better rested on a 24-hour schedule. So that was a huge reason and concern for the switch on the management side.
So when you say 335 people that called for an ambulance did not get one, is that because there's not enough ambulance companies in the game to cover the area?
Just so I can clarify, they did get one eventually. It wasn't on the primary agency, which I believe is AMR. So we would get Nova, Waves, Eves, Manlius, Fayetteville would come in and respond into the city to get that call. So it's a delayed response time, and we don't want any of our citizens sitting on the floor of the road for a half an hour.
Other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Counselor Allen.
Thank you. I have items 35 and 36. Good afternoon, Councilors. Kimone Jordan, Director of Housing and Neighborhood Planning. So we have two properties today. The first one was held from the last vote session. It's 214 State Street. A reminder, it's 6 years delinquent by $41,400. I know some of the councilors wanted to reach out to the owner.
Yeah, and I think Councilor Monto was still working on that. So if he can give us an update by Monday, that'll work.
Okay, sounds good. The second property we have is 331 Salina Street to Bank Alley. It is 5 years delinquent by $32,385.
So this one, this is the vacant land right in between the two buildings. So is there a plan for what would go there in the future, or is just we'll have to kind of get it out there to see what we can do with it?
So we have an adjacent owner that's interested in purchasing it.
Which owner?
The owner on the right, so
Ryan Benz, I think.
333 Salina Street, Acropolis Center, LLC.
Okay.
What's he gonna do with it? Does he know?
I'm not sure, but I can get you an update on Monday.
That's what I'm thinking.
This property would not be sold non-competitively because it is a downtown property in the heart of downtown. Our plan would be to get a commercial appraisal and to list it for sale. And I've had some conversations with Ryan Benz about this, so he knows that he might have competition. I told him that the fact that he has the property next door may put him in a more competitive position to do something more creative. I'm not sure what he might come up with. But if, for example, his plan was to make it a parking lot and someone else wanted to put a building there, we would obviously prefer the building. So it's going to depend on what sort of plans come forward from prospective purchasers.
Caitlin, is he, Acropolis, he's aligned with Acropolis, but he's not that's not his company, correct?
I believe he's one of the partners.
Is he?
Yeah, but he has other businesses as well. Ryan does.
I know
So
he does.
under different names too. So yeah.
I don't know what his plan is at this point, but we would open it up to competition and
Acropolis
find the
is
best
not-
plan.
Acropolis and I've had issues in the past in properties in my council district in Acropolis, so if he was somehow divorced from them, that would probably look at him as more favor.
And as you know, Councilor Hogan sits on the Land Bank Board and will be one of 5 people voting on who we sell it to, so you'll get to have a say in that.
We can say it right out there, I guess.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I'm all set. Thank you.
All righty, and with that, are there the students back there? No? Oh, you look so young. All righty, and with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So Ryan and
Oh, because mine's here. Oh, it's Rita's.